I'm just going to record the session. Hello, guys. So, welcome to the new thing. Like we are talking about some CIA trade and security, and what is risk management sort of thing. So, first things I always tell you that confidentiality is one of them. So, what do you understand by confidentiality is all about? Any ideas you have? Because we already done this particular thing. So, I would like to know that what do you think? Why? What do you understand in confidentiality is all about? Yes, Adish, anything like that?
Confidentiality is that we are keeping our data confidentiality by keeping the encryption methods.
Okay, okay, good. So confidential resources should be protected from unauthorized access. Okay. So prioritized by governments basically. So concept is basically the sensitivity. Okay. What type of sensitivity of your data it is. So you should be go for the confidential things same time. Okay. So how harmful is disclosure? Okay. Suppose your national intelligence agencies basically they have the data. Okay. If the data is disclosed. Okay. Then it's a very harmful disclosure sort of thing. Disclosures, control disclosure to the prevent damage. Critically, how essential the information is to the organization. Concealment, hiding informations. Secrecy is keeping something a secret. Privacy is keeping personal information secret. Okay, so we have privacy information, we have secrecy information. The concealment is where criticality of the data, discretion, sensitivity of data, and privacy. Keeping personal information secret. Seclusion is storing data in out of the way locations. Isolation is basically keeping data separate. So we are going to isolate the data. Okay, keeping data isolation. So how can we do it in the web server? Suppose you have a web servers available. How do you isolation things you're gonna work with? What is example of privacy? What is example of secrecy of data? Yes. Any answers you would like to say to me, sir? This is we can isolate the data.
All the source code and everything we can keep secret of our data, encryption keys and everything. And yeah, to we are posting in the web pages to not to access the unauthorized. We keep some privacy policies like what data they can access and what not to access.
Okay, okay,
Privacy policies like not to change, we keep only read mode, not to write or delete the data.
okay, okay, okay. So isolation, have you done the isolate of your network? And if I'm going to ask you one question, how do you isolate your network? How do you
Uh,
isolate your web servers? Yes. Any answers you would like to share me? So this is the things we can isolate the things.
okay, no idea.
Ideas you have?
And we say that access control is access control based on.
Uh, so my dear friends, this is if you're talking about some isolations, this is the things we are talking about right now. So this is example like keeping the data separate. Okay. So how can we separate the data? How can we sort of providing the isolation in the network? So we can isolate the network through the VPN, sorry, VLANs. We can create VLANs. Okay, so different departments only they can access their data same time. We are just talking about the networking side. We can go for port security. We have finance
We do
data.
this VLANs in routing stage or in the switches stage.
Pardon? Come again?
We create these VLANs, right, sir, to keep data separate.
Yes, data separate. We are just talking about networking side right now.
Yeah, we create these VLANs in the routers or in the switches
Switch,
stage.
switch, 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 switch. This is talking. We are talking about in switch. So we can create VLANs. We can create port security. Okay, separate. You know what? Data line. Okay, we can create access control list. Okay, what type of data is going or the type of data not going to the particular network. And there are multi more things we can do it. And if you're talking about the routers, and we're just talking about some firewall, we can create some zones. So traffic is moving in zones. What do you understand by zones? So LAN traffic, LAN to WAN zone, WAN to WAN zone, WAN to VPN zone, WAN to VM zone. Okay, so if we're talking about some web servers, okay, so WAN server is basically just coming in the cities. Okay, the web servers. Suppose any public accessibility, but suppose when traffic coming from outside to inside, so the hacker is going to, what coming outside, okay, and he will, what, he or she basically hit on the particular IP address, public IP address, and then the data is routing through VM zone, okay, so web server zone. It is not coming to your inside of the company. So that is why we need to create some game retry zone. So what we can do it. This is the switches and the routers and firewalls. We can create some zones sort of thing, and then we can route the traffic different ways. And this in the switch end, the VLAN, okay, separate broadcast domain we can create. Okay, it is not we can create port security, so MAC binding sort of we can do it. We can provide sort of this particular MAC address is going to be uh, accessible for violations sort of things. Policies we can gonna create it. We can create some access control list. Okay, so the things coming into the traffic which is coming to the same or not coming to the firewall or okay. So this is a little example I'm just talking about. Okay. So privacy examples we're talking about for keeping personal information secret. So how do you what type of things you gonna do?
When it comes to an organization, the primary information comes under the employees' details and the company secrets, like what the projects they are and what their budgets, uh, everything. The details comes under the privacy of an organization. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Please.
Oh. Privacy of an organization is that their employees' details, their client details, and the project details, and the project budgets. cost estimations, everything comes under the personal information of an organization.
Yes, you're right. On secrecy, what about the security? Secrecy of the information.
Secretly is that if
You have to
we
secret your data. Okay. So how can you
like
secret what IDS, IPS, okay, and also uh, you require you secret your data. You can avoid encryptions.
encryption
Okay,
method.
great, great. So I think also how you understand about the confidentiality and the confidential things, isolations of the data, circulations, privacy, secrecy, criticality. Okay, on discretion, sensitivity of the data. Okay? How the harmful of your data is. Okay, suppose somebody will disclose your password. Okay, password information is disclosed of the CEO of the company or of anybody. Okay, so this is very sensitive information which is leaked outside. Okay? This is what, very harmful to the company. Okay, and what about if you're talking about some SQL injection? So SQL injections, what happened? The website's admin credential has been taken by the hacker. Same time, okay, so hacker is going to access the databases. He can manipulate the databases tables at first, okay, and he can just change the things in the websites, coding everything. This is very harmful of the information. So the password sort of thing is very sensitive data, for us, right? We have little understanding about. We are just talking about some comprehensive what it's all about. Okay, we have just talking about integrated the resources should be protected from unauthorized modifications. Resources should maintain semantic constancy. Semantic constancy. Okay, so how do you protect the things of integrity? How do you, what countermeasure in the integrity? What
We
you
can use one of the in integrity method. We can protect our data by keeping some hashing methods, and we can create our digital certificates and digital signatures to not to do modifications.
yes, you're right. Good. What about the availability?
Availability comes under to keep the data to available for our clients. We can provide the backup, different backup methods. We have partial, experimental, and backup and cloud backups. We can use according to our requirement. We can take the backup and we can provide data to our clients.
Yes, yes, you're right. So in the availability, we have some backup. We have prepared a backup for options. We can availability of the data at any point of time. Okay, so you have the availability of the data all the time. We can take the backup for options. Okay, so the unauthorized users cannot access the options, not accessible. Okay, great. So we understand the CIE, and then this another term is triple A. So triple A basically is talking about some I triple A. We can say I is there exactly. So I is equal to identifications. So required to hold a subject accountable for actions. So identifications, subject identifies themselves. So identifications is basically what does it mean? The subject, okay, subject is user, is identify themselves. Suppose I'm creating any usernames in the Active Directory in the domain controller. Suppose I'm going to create the usernames into the Linux. Suppose I'm going to create the users in the Windows environment, in the server environment. Okay, so centralized management of the users. It is called a identification. Suppose your name is Harish or your name is Triven, so I'm just going to create your ID on the domain controller. Okay, or the Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. We can say that, or we can create any ID from your site. So your ID is there. It's an identification of yourself. Okay, so you are a subject basically. You have some identity themselves. I hope you understand this thing. Okay, what about authentication? Authentication is subject proves their identity. whether you are the right user or whether you are not the right user. Okay? And is your identity is correct or not. So it is basically called by the authentications. So we have authentication, some protocols is there. Tell me two protocols named of authentication. And the Microsoft in the Linux environment. Any ideas, guys, you have?
No, sir.
Okay. Just remember, man, my dear friend. LDAP, LDAP is a lightweight
No.
and this is coverage. So basically, open day system. Okay. So we have coverage. Okay, at LDAP. Please try to learn all everything about two authentication protocols. It will be asked in the any interview, anywhere you go. Okay. Authentication is a subject to their identity, and authentication authorization is subject is allowed and disallowed to perform an action. What can the subject do and don't do and not to do? Okay. Authorization basically tells that you authorize same sort of thing or you not authorized for the same sort of thing. Okay. Whether you perform this activity or you have not performed. Right? Any confusion in this?
No, sir.
This is very basic things you need to understand. This is identification and what does it my authentications and what are the protocols are going to use it. How can you authentications and how can you authorization? Okay, what type of access you have, what to do, what to do not do it. Okay, and the other thing is subject actions are logged. Okay, so whatever you're going to perform, it will as a logs. So these things you need to provide. And accounting is one of them. So accounting is basically subject logs are used for violation. Okay, subject is held accountable for their actions. Legally defensible security requires subject accountable. You need to prove efforts were made to prevent to the crime.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Log files are accurate. All laws and regulations were followed. Warning and notifications were posted. Electric evidence is received. Okay, so we required all sort of things. I replay concepts need to learn. Okay, CIA concepts need to learn. Okay, so all things you need to be learned. Okay, so this is the all things which is required in the forensic investigations. Okay, suppose you are working in a company and you are accountable. Okay, so we have what type of accounting? So we require a subject logs are reviewed by the violations. Okay, the subject is held accountable for their actions. Okay, so you have what read some users into the Active Directory domain, Roman controller. Okay, so you are the responsible for any action, whatever you have done it. Okay, so how would I say that this is comes under accounting. You are accountable for the same. Okay, and how would I say that you are accountable? Because I have done I have the logs available. Subject action log. Okay, so auditing. I'm just doing the auditing, and then I will check it out whether You have accountable or not accountable for the same thing. Okay? And what type of access you have? If you have access sort of thing, rise you are authorized to do the same or not. This is tell about the authorization. And once you're going to be login into a server to anywhere from a different protocols or different ways, this is authentication. And how do you log in? You first of all you require identification. You have some identification. Username password is identification, and then how do you are going to log into the particular directory? Okay, so authentication sort of thing, LDAP or IPA, or we can say um, those sort of things. This protocol is not working. Okay, and what you can do, what you not gonna do it. This is authorization sort of things, and the logs are available. Whatever you have made it, any changes, this all comes under auditing sort of things, and counting basically what sort of things you have done it. The subject is held accountable for their actions. You are accountable for this or not accountable for a thing. Okay. So what sort of violations you have reviewed? This I'm just going to check it out your violations. So this is comes under all sort of things which we have just talking about. It's IAM. IAM is an entity and access management. Identity and access management. One another term is basically you have checked it EAM. EAM is basically privilege management. So privilege access management, what type of actions you gonna perform it, what type of rights you have, what type of approvals you have doing this thing. So this the security point of view, you need to understand the CIA concept, you understand the IEEE concept, you understand the IAM concept, and you understand the TM privilege, what type of privilege you have to access the resources. Okay, so TM, IAM, IEEE, CIA, all these questions will be coming once you're going for any interview, okay? Or if you're working in a soft environment, so all things will be very, very important for you once you're working. So legally defensible security is required to do what subjects accountable. You need to prove efforts were made to the prevent the crime. Log files are accurate. All laws and regulations were followed. Warning and notifications were posted. Electronic evidence is decisive. Non-accreditation subjects cannot deny performing any action. Okay, an action. Suppose your ID and password you have shared to somebody else. Okay, and they have done some misuse any illegal activities from your ID and password. So at the same time, you are responsible for a lot of things. Okay, so subject is held accountable for the actions. They will know what the cops are going to be catch you same time. So what is required? What is another thing is non-reputations. Reputations. Okay, non-reputation is basically subjects cannot deny performing an actions. Okay, so it is done from your ID and password. Okay, and the logs are available. Okay, so you cannot deny same thing. This is called as non-reputation. So all things are very important. PHFI. PHFI it means first of all you guys are doing uh, first of all you guys doing CEH. Okay, CEH is a certified ethical hacking. Okay, this is basic fundamentals and the advanced fundamental is CHFI. Okay, CHFI is certified. Sorry, not certified. Computer hacking, computer hacking forensic investigation. done the PHF5, then you need to understand who's going to perform what type of action has been performed, who is accountable, who is what accounting sort of thing, who is supervision sort of thing. Okay, so this is sort of things you need to be check it out each and everything. Okay, the second thing is protection mechanism. Okay, so what you're going to do to protect the things. Okay, so layering defensive in depth approach, use of multiple controls in a series. Okay, use uses series versus parallel. So user series means that useful for security. Data passes through multiple filters. A airport with multiple gates. So you can provide some series. Okay, so you have to provide some different airports, different gates. Data passes through multiple filters. Okay, suppose your data is passing in the firewall, you can provide some policies, different policies, different content filters. Okay, this sort of thing. Okay, useful for security. Okay, so if you guys understand about security, guys understand about signature level, okay, and pattern. Signature level it means that what are the signatures inside your firewall, right? Firewall updated signatures. Okay, it is decide the packet whether we need to block or allow the packet. Okay, and another thing is pattern level sort of thing. So the behavior sort of thing is also pattern based or user behavior, same sort of thing. So users behavior. What does it mean? Suppose you are going to access your net banking through Mozilla Firefox, okay, and for every time. But some, but you know what? The traffic is coming from Chrome, accessibility from your net banking. So at the same time, your firewall is what checking what type of pattern it is. So the user is going to use the Mozilla all the time, and why he's going to use the Chrome same time. Okay, so it will not providing all the security features in time. It will be accessible, no problem whatsoever, but it will what checking out all the what security features exist. So parallel usable for performance. Data can pass many filters and small and multiple and intensity. This is sort of security things we can apply it. So abstraction is generalize a group of objects and subjects, define object and subjects templates. So we can go and use some type different templates of same sort of thing. If you have worked on the Office 365 environment, we can gonna use it. The Office 365 templates, bulk users creation. Okay. Example, employee can be used to describe in the marks. Data hiding is place data in the locations not in the subject. Okay, so stenography is one of them. Stenography.
Mahesh, sir, I
Yes.
can't hear you properly. Your voice is totally breaking up.
So is it audible right now?
Yeah, it's audible, but it's getting a lot of disturbance. Sir. The voice is breaking in the middle.
Okay. So I think the voice is coming right now.
Yes.
Okay. So data hiding is one of them. So stenography is the same sort of thing we are talking about here, and prevents data from being accessed by unauthorized subjects. Okay, so data is not going to be accessed from the unauthorized subject. So we can do then encryption to hides intent of data rather than hiding the data itself. Okay, so we have to going to hides the intent only, makes data unreadable to unauthorized subjects. Okay, what sort of precautions we can do it for data? We can go interruptions, we can go data hiding, we can go abstractions, and we can go for series versus parallel sort of thing. These are the some ways we can, doing some security sort of data. So decryptions, data hiding, abstractions. So this is the example you can gonna use it. And so to secure your data, exceptions to it, you can go and data hiding, stenography is same sort of thing. Abstraction. Okay. And you can also use it. So these are the four way we can, defend the data. Protection mechanism. How can you protect it? Things like where we get protected it. Okay, so what about the security management? And so, guys, any ideas about the security governance? What is governance is all about?
No, sir.
So, matter of fact, this the governance basically we can say that uh, the the top level of the management. Okay, top level of the CEO, CTO, the operation manager, that sort of. So how they can contribute in the security sort of thing. Administration of an organization security program, business case, okay, justify starting a new project. Okay, so that they can starting a new project for security governance. Okay, what type of security in the company? They will just gonna create a new project, business case they can create and approaches top down, upper management makes security policy. Okay, in what happens in the life you have checked it out. The top management is basically what they're doing it, they are basically creating the policies. Okay, they will let us know that what needs to be done in the company. So this is the responsibility for the top management for creating the policies, and lower officers flesh out security policy. The company, the CEO, the CTO, the officer going to create a policy, and the managers or the engineers flesh out the security, all of this. Okay, this is the top level. And the bottom up, what they're doing it, IT staff make security decisions, whether the things which will be working, which are not working, and what are the problematic sort of things. So it will be said by the bottom up. And autonomous security team is led by PSA, report directly to senior management. So the environment, in your examinations, like who is creating the policies, IT policy, who is responsible for creating the policy, who is liable for the policy creation with the company. You can say that top management is responsible for creating the policy, and of course is liable to pledge the policies to all the users. The lower management is basically responsible for spreading the policies all of yes. Are you able to hear my voice? Hello, Ruben.
Your voice is breaking, sir.
Hello, you audible now? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So what happened? The bottom up, the IT staffs make security decisions, problematic decisions, and autonomous infosec team lead by the CSO and reports directly to the senior management. And security policies require support of senior management to
Sir,
succeed.
can you come from the security governance?
Pardon?
Can you tell from the security governance? Can't hear from there.
Security policies.
Yes.
The security policies are the policies where we have to write down which is need to be done. Suppose the asset we have purchased. Okay, so how much time the expiry of the particular asset? Suppose you have purchased the laptops in the company, so how much time the users can use this particular laptop? What is the expiry date of this laptops? So some companies are basically use the 3 years the laptop, and after that they will not gonna use the by the company users in. So you will just write it down the policies that what type of laptops availability and how much time it will be expired. They will not gonna use it. Okay, you can gonna to create some policies like any physical damage of the laptop, who's responsible same time. You can create a policies for the IT. Then if you require some assets, then what type of approvals, who will going to provide the approvals, okay, and how the tickets need to be created same time, okay, and how much time, what type of SLA to provide the asset to the person same time. You can also provide a onboarding process of the employees. Okay, the new user is going to be joined in the company, then you can create some onboarding policies. Okay, onboard policies for the employees, new employees. Okay, so these sort of policies you can create in the company. Okay, yeah, because the senior management is responsible for creating the policies. Okay, and the lower management basically is responsible for splash this particular policy so all the users can follow it. Okay, so security policies require support of senior management to succeed, and evidence of due care and the due diligence are options. Okay, so this is in very important terms that due care and due diligence, which is basically is beneficial to all of the users same time. Okay. Okay, so as we're talking about some security management plans, so what type of plans required? So strategic plans, we have some technical plan, and we have operations plan. Okay, so strategic plans basically long-term plans we can create. Okay, suppose what type of plan for the next 5 years of the IT security plans? What do you think about next 5 years? What type of security requirement? What sort of things will be applicable in the company? Okay, it's a strategic plan for you. Define security purposes of the organizations. Lifetime 5 years. Okay, so it's a strategic plans you're gonna create. So this is the responsibility of the top management. Okay, they will gonna create a strategic plans, the long-term plans, the 5 years plan. Okay, so what is the purpose of security? What is the use case security in the organizations? Okay, and what sort of things we will proportionally actions we cannot take it. And then the second plan is a tactical plan, so mid-term plan. Okay, contains tasks to achieve strategic plans. Examples: project plans, acquisitions plans, hiring plans, budget plans. Lifetime is 1 year. So suppose if you have 1 year plans, it's a mid-term plan, and what type of task and what type of achievements you need to perform. Okay, so we have some projects plan. We can want to read what type of acquisitions plans, what type of hiring plans, and what type of budget plans. Okay, what is the budget for IT? How number what what number of people we need to hire in the company for IT? How can the acquisitions of different companies and mergers, and how the IT security can be working within 1 year? What type of project plans you're gonna create it? Okay, so these are technical plans you're gonna create for companies for 1 year. An operational plan is basically short-term plan. Okay, contains steps to achieve tactical plan. Okay, so tactical plan, you suppose you are the one person. What's your KRA, key responsibility and KPI, key performance indicators to we can going for the appraisal. Okay, so you need to perform some such task is there. So same thing is applied on the particular task. Suppose we need to provide a security in the company for 1 year. and then we need to create some operational plan. Okay, so it's a very short-term plan and it contains steps to achieve technical plan. Okay, so what we're going to achieve it, we can need to provide some training plans. We need to train all the people of the company if we're going to achieve the security in the company. Then system development plan, how can we development system can we development plan we're going to create, and product design plan. Okay, so we need to provide some changes in the product design parameters. Okay, so it's a lifetime, is 1 month and 1 quarter sort of plan we're going to create. Okay, so very short term plan is operational plan, is technical plan is for 1 year, and the strategic plan for 5 years plan. So this is the security management plan we can want to create. The management is going to create the security management plan at the same time. So as a security guys, you need to understand what type of different plans and what type of things we can perform in different plans sort of thing. Okay, so we can, if we're going to talking about some 5 years plans, then we go for strategic plan. If we have going for 1 year plans, if we can say that it's a technical plans we're going to create. And if we want to talking about some step by step 1 month and quarterly base, there's an operation plan. So suppose how many number of onboarding will be joined in next 3 quarters. Yes, we have 20 onboarding is going to join it. So we need to procure the licenses. So this is operation plans. Okay. And the technical plans week example is basically suppose you want to implement DLP solutions or need to purchase a firewall for the company. So it's a if we can say a 1 year plan, so you can just find out all the things, what are features is all about, and then you can go into purchase for buying something. Okay. The next 5 years, what's your goal for the security? How do you achieve it? So we need to go for the endpoint security, get the security. Okay, and we need to buy some licenses. We need to go for some cloud computing concepts come to the picture same time. So company is going for the long-term plan same time as well. So long-term plans, strategic plans, and strategic plan for 1 year, and operational plan is basically for 1 month or 1 quarter plan. Okay, so we have another thing is important to understand is change management. So changes can lead to security issues. Purpose prevents compromise after change. Okay, so goals is what is the change management is basically the changes that and lead to the security issues. Okay, so we have to change the issues, we have to change the assets, we have to change the different things. What are different changes this will impact on the production? So we need to do as a change management sort of things. So what is the purpose of this creating change management? The purpose is going to create the prevents compromise after change. Okay. What is the goal of this? So monitor change, test change, allow rollback of change, inform users of change. Okay, so how we can what type of change we can do it so that inform the users to change, allow rollback of change, test change and change, monitor change and analyze effects of the change and minimize negative impact of change and allow review of change, test change approval for CAB. So change management, it is a part of the ITL. ITL is a framework basically. So what the framework is suggest the infrastructure information technology infrastructure library is all about. Okay, so what type of change management process need to be followed in the organizations? So if the change manager is one of them. So change management suggests that if any changes in the organizations, suppose if you're working in a company where the software-based company and there is lots of changes in the software. Okay, so we need to uh, follow the change management process. Okay, so that any changes in the productions. Okay, so there we have some availability, we have some tools available. Okay, so any good changes, then it's okay. If any bad changes has been done in the company, then we require some tests change. We require some analyze. How can we allow who is going to allow the change? The change advice approval board is basically allow the same sort of things. Okay, so this is all about. So change management is basically as a change board. Okay, so change management form is about available. So if we're going here and then if I'm going to tell you, so this is the template available. Okay, so any changes required. Okay, you can use the particular template and then you can show that this is the change we have done it. Okay, so we have to create some ticketing tools. We need to provide some bugs and what is the rollback plan, who is going to be responsible, okay, and what is the date of the change, who is going to approve the changes. So everything is very important aspects once you're going on the change management. So we have different templates available for the change management. So you can follow different templates, and then in this template you will find out all the details about the change management, right? So you can just try go and just try to create some what data, and this the sheet will be available. So you can just find out the number of things in points. Okay, suppose if we're just talking about some how it looks like, so we can go in the images and then we have found out the different changes. Okay, so change management tracking log template, we have different changes. Change request form. Okay, so how many number of frigates was approved, what is the priority, what is the impact on the company, okay, what the efforts will be count, number of hours has been taken, okay, and a project name is all about. So this is the what the change management happens in any company. So change management plan template. So this is the plan, how to do it, when to do it, who's going to do it, what who is the approval required. So all these things sort of things is required in the company. So where I'm just going to write it down as change management. Okay, and use any template. You can use any templates and you can want to create some change management. Okay, then next is the data classifications is there. So data classification is basically identify which data need to be prioritized, prioritized for projection, production, and identify which control is needed for which data. Okay, so benefits. Okay, data classification is first of all we need to identify which data is we have to prioritize and for production, and identify which controls is needed for which data. Okay, we have different data, we have different priorities of the data. Okay, we can use for different production plans for the same things. Okay, so different controls, different production sort of thing. Okay, different data types. So what is the benefit of it is? The benefit it is demonstrates commitment of to protection of data, identifies critical assets, justifies selection of controls required for regulation, it defines proper access, declassifications, and restriction method, helps with data life cycle management sort of things. Okay. So what is the benefit? This if we're going to data classifications, we have the data prioritizations. We can provide some controls. So the benefit is basically is identifies critical assets. We understand that this is the critical assets, this is not critical assets, justifies selection of controls required for calculations, okay, and defines proper access, disclassification, and restriction method. Helps with data life cycle management sort of things. We can also go into it, how much data we will be carrying, okay, and how much time. Suppose if the logs of the networks devices, and if you are the HIPAA compliance company or you are the PCI company, okay. So as per this regulations, okay, as how many years data you can carry of the logs of the servers of your long networking devices. So another 3 years, 5 years, and 7 years sort of cycle of the data management of the life cycle of the data. Classifications categories. So we have usefulness, timeliness, value, age. What is age of the data? Lifetime. We need to carry the data. Relationship with subjects, sensitivity, criticality of the data, national security implications, storage methods, and ownership. Okay, so we have the classifications. Need to do it on the categories. Okay, so first of all, usefulness. What is usefulness of the data? Okay, timelines, the value of the data. What is the value? What is the age of the data? What is lifetime sort of things? relationship with the subject, okay, sensitivity, criticality, national security implications, storage matter, ownership, okay. So I have one question for you. Suppose you have legal data of the company. So how much time we should be carrying? Any answers? Legal data of your company. Suppose the company balance sheet. How much time you will be carrying all the information, all the data of the company?
No idea, sir.
Alright? Yes, yes, please tell me. I would like to know that the legal data of the company, how much time you will be carrying. Yes, any
No idea,
answers?
sir.
Lifetime, my dear friends. You need to lifetime carry the legal data, okay? The balance sheet of the company, because suppose the company is established, okay, and then sometimes the legal issues will be happen. So the court is okay, the judiciary is required the data. Okay, and if you don't have the data, this is the legal issue. This is sometimes the same time. Okay, so we should keep the company's legal data lifetime, financial data lifetime. Okay, there is no end date for the same sort of things, because it will be what asking. Suppose the Google company was established 100 years back, and that's it, and there is some legal issues, some what legal issues happened. So the judiciary is asking for to provide the data. What was the what papers of the Google? Okay, so they will be carrying all the data same time. So there is no end date for legal data and financial data of the company. Same thing is applied in your personal life as well. Individual data is same time. Your legal data and of your financial data should be carried lifetime. There is no end date for the same sort of things, and it's very top secret data. It is okay. So another thing is the implementing classifications or identified custodian. So custodian who is responsible for data. Okay, the custodian is basically who is overall custody responsible of the data. He is Similarly, he is not responsible for backup the data. Suppose the finance head of the company is not responsible for backup of the data, the availability sort of things. He is not responsible for custody, what integrity of the data. He's overall responsible where the data is going to use what data. Okay, and the IT person is responsible for availability of the data all the time without integrity modifications. Okay, so identify the custodian. Who is the custodian is all about? Okay, so HR head, finance head, sales head, purchase head. They have all the data of the company of the sales or purchase or finance department. And they once any onboarding is there, any termination is from the same departments. So they are the the right people who is providing the what type of accessibility required on the data for onboarding. Okay, and what type of what removal of the data same time. Okay, so this is the things will be found by the IT specific person. But the matter of fact that who identify the custodian suggests you what should be done with this data. Determine evaluation criteria. Okay, how to evaluate the different criteria, like we have different classification of data. Classify the sources. Who is going to use what type of data? Determine determine exceptions. Different exceptions in this. Determine security controls. Determine declassification procedures. Staff awareness and training. So this is implementing of classifications. Okay. Classification of schemes is government and military data is classified as top secret data. Okay, and the secret data and the confidential data. So we have classified data is one type is classified data and second type is unclassified data. So we have classified data is means the top secret data. Okay, the top secret data of what? Government and the military sort of things. So we have secret data and we have confidential data. Unclassified data is sensitive data. and unclassified data is there. Okay. So second thing is private and business. So confidential data and private data is very what for the from private business perspectives. Okay. And confidential and proprietary data is related to business. Private is related to the personal and sensitive data and public data. Okay. So we have some classifications with it, right? We have responsibility. We have top secret data, sensitive data, classified data, unclassified data, okay, and sensitive data, secret data. Okay. So this is the classifications you can schemes you can use it. Okay, classified and unclassified data. One is government and military data. Okay, and one is private business data. Same time. Okay, and the private business is confidential private data. Okay, confidentiality and proprietary, private business, private related to personal, sensitive data, and public accessible data. Okay. So there is in this government and military there is no public accessible data. Okay, they have to think classified and classified data. But in private and business sort of things, we have public accessible data same time. We have sensitive data same time. Related to personal. Okay, personal means the human being data. Suppose your Aadhaar card is taken by the company. It's your private data. Okay, then we have another thing is security roles and responsibilities. So roles and responsibilities, senior management. Senior management is what type of responsibilities they have. So senior management signed off the policies issues. Okay, they will have to provide a signing authority of the security policies and liable for security solution. Okay, so what type of solutions for the security they will liable for the same senior management and security professionals design and implement security solutions in time. They will go on designing and implement how the implementation in the security in the company. Okay, what type of designs? The security professional will be responsible for the same. Data owner is classifies data. Okay, so data owner is will classify data, suppose classify and classified, structured and structured data, top secret data. Okay, this sort of things has been done by the data owner. The data custodian is implements controls to the protect data. Okay, and protect data based on classifications. Okay, so first of all, the data custodian suggests that this is a top secret data. Okay, and he just also provides this sort of control to require this data at any point of time. It's very secure data. Okay, so we need to encrypt the data simple. Okay, then we have to protect. How do we protect the data? We can go for some get rid of the security. We have go for endpoint security solutions. We have go for digital certificates sort of thing same time. User to access the system and complies with the security policies. Okay, so for instance, you are a user for the company. Auditors checks the compliance with the security policies, check effectiveness of the security policies. Okay, so auditors comes and then they will check out the compliance and then also the effectiveness same time. So these are some roles and responsibilities same time. And training versus education. So training is so users can comply with security policies, and education is basically users learn more than what they need to do. No. So we have some control framework as well. So for planning IT security of organizations, control objectives for information and related technology COVID is required. Okay. So by ISACA principles, meeting stakeholders needs, covering the enterprise end to end, apply a single integrated framework, enabling a hosting approach, separating governance from management. So these sort of things we need to be take care of. So due care and due diligence. So first thing is due care. Okay, what does it mean due care? So due care is required efforts to protect data. Okay, what type of efforts you required to protect the data? Compliance to legal regulations. Okay, suppose you are working in a company where the PCI-DSS is okay, so the payment card industry, like users are going to use their credit card or debit card for purchasing and sales sort of things. Okay, like Paytm sort of companies. Okay, so they have some compliance. Okay, they have the legal regulations. Legal duty of company failure will result in negligence. Okay, so due care. Okay, so company should Suppose you are opening a new company like Paytm, or first of all, you need to be PCI DSS compliant. Okay. If you are neglecting things, then there is a huge penalty on the same side from you. Due diligence is basically maintaining due care. Okay, so continuous improvement of security, penetration tests, vulnerability assessment, etc. So here, the due diligence is basically how do you provide a good environment in the company. Okay, so we require provide a good environment, so maintaining the due care, penetration test, vulnerability assessment, etc. So you can be doing something. Operational security, so ongoing maintenance of due care and due diligence of sort of things. Okay, operational security you can go for it. Okay, so what happened to this? So ongoing maintenance of the due care is due diligence. So you need to whatever things are working in the company. Suppose the servers are not accessible, so you going to provide some notifications to the users. Okay, so it will take this much of time. So this is a due care sort of things. Okay, so I already suggest you for all the company people that this is not available to the server at that time. So they will do some different tasks same time. Okay, suppose you are going to write down some components of security policies. So what type of security policies are there? So should be kept as separate documents. Only change materials need to be redistributed. Not all users are concerned with all documents, and security policies is basically is generalization, security needs, goals, and practices. So what type of security goals, what type of security needs you have in the company? What overview the security? Okay, what kind of security required in the company? It is a strategic plan for the next 5 years plan. So long-term plan basically. Proof of due care. Okay, compulsory. Responsibilities must be rules based, not individual based. Okay, so in this, once you're going to write down some security policies, so you know what? It is a basically rule based, not individual based. Okay, because you are working as a IT manager in the company. Okay, so this is your role, and what type of ID policy implications to you sometimes. Okay, so types is organization, issue specific, network service, and department sort of things. Or system specific. Okay, suppose your system is not going to work. Suppose network services are disrupted. Okay, suppose you are going to log a call to the ISP, internet service provider, and they are the SLA, service level agreement sort of things going to work. Okay, so you just write down the IT security policies in time. Okay, then we have some categories. Some we have regulatory, we have advisory, we have informative sort of things. Okay, so we have required by the law, regulatory. We have advisory is basically required by senior management, acceptable by use, assigns security rules, assigns responsibilities to roles, and contains expected behavior. Informative is basically not required, provides background information to issues. Okay, we have some standard policies in time. Okay, so standard is basically describe uniform implementation of the technology, technical documents, baseline describes the secure state of system specific, we have different systems. Specific, okay. So somebody will ask you that what is the guidelines, recommendations, and suggestions, action by for the compliance. Describe controls rather than products. Not compulsory. Okay, so guidelines are mostly not compulsory. You can follow it or not follow it. Okay, so this is describe the controls rather than products. Okay, so what type of control system and recommendations and suggestions actions by compliance. Okay, suppose the guideline is basically password. You need to provide 8-digit alphabetical password. This is the guidelines from the company. Whether you provide the 8-digit password or not, is a 8-digit password. It depends on you. Okay, so this is suggestions. This is the compulsory, not compulsory sort of things. Guidelines and the procedures, step-by-step instruction on how to implement the security control. Okay, so how do you provide a security controls step-by-step information and specific to a system or product ensures compliance to standard. Okay, so this is a standard sort of things as per the compliance specific to a system or product. So we have IT securities, policies, we have guidelines, we have procedures. We have due care, we have due diligence, we have data classifications, we have CIA threats, we have IEEE threats. This is very important prospect as a security prospect. Wait a second. Yes, we have some approaches is available, threat modeling. So what is a threat modeling is about? So approach is proactive and reactive approach, okay? So proactive approach is basically performed before and while the system is being implemented, predicting threats and designing defense in advance. More cost effective and more successful. Security development cycle reduce number of coding defects, reduce severity of remaining defects. Okay. Suppose I will provide you some example like that. In your company, if the ISP goes down, okay. So this is a proactive approach. It's a reactive approach. Tell me. So, hello, Ruben, and hello,
Sir,
Ruben and Harish.
sir,
Yes,
sir, sir.
if your ISP goes down, then what is a proactive approach or is a reactive approach? Yes, please tell me. If your ISP internet service provider of your company or of your home goes down, this is the reactive approach. It is a reactive approach. Yes, I'm waiting for your answers.
Hello.
Yes, I would like to know that it's a reactive approach or it's a proactive approach. If your ISP goes down,
Proactive approach focuses on eliminating problems before they have a chance to appear.
yes. So it is a reactive approach or it's a proactive approach.
It's proactive approach.
How it is?
Rather, reactive approach is based on responding events after they have happened. It is a reactive approach.
Yes, that is why I'm just talking about here.
Yeah.
So the ISP goes down, then you're going to perform some actions. So it's a reactive approach. It's not proactive approach. Okay. Some of the bugs into the coding of your website. Okay. And the coders. Okay. The development team is going to, the bugs, whatever the bugs would be, they will able to solve out, to fix the bugs. And then it is going to the production. So it is a proactive approach, or it's a reactive approach. It is a proactive approach because they have fixed the issues before it's going to the production. Okay, so proactive approach is performed before and while the system is being implemented. Before anything happens, you have to perform actions. predictions, threats, and designing defense in advance. More cost effective and more successful. Okay, so most of the times we should be always be tracky approach. Before the incident will be happen, we need to be in our fix the solution same times, reduce number of coding defects, reduce security of remaining defects. So the reactive approach is performed after the system has been implemented. Okay, less effective but more cost effective than redesign. Example, penetration testing, source code review, first testing. First testing is basically random invalid input is fed to a program, attempting to find previously undetected flaws. And what are the steps we require? We have some threat identification approaches focused on assets, protect valuable assets, focused on attackers, focused on software, protect the software, protect the things that attackers they want to attack, and protect valuable assets. So the threat modeling is basically the threat identification. Step one. Okay, so this is the first approach is basically the threat identification. So how do you identify the threats? You need to provide some approaches so focused on assets, what assets you have, how to protect all the assets, and focus on assets, attackers, what different attacking things. Okay, and focused on software, protect the software. Invalid threats is basically because weak portions, cautious of contractors and trusted partners. So we need to be cautious about the contractors. We have third party person. Okay, they will gonna attack on your assets, and we have to cautious about the trusted partner same times. The second thing is threat categorization. Stride. So stride it means that a stride as it means proofing, classifying information of to gain access. Okay, flash try to classify information which is going to be accessed. Okay, we need to check it out what type of information you have. Who's going to be access the information, gaining the access on the same. T it means tampering, making unauthorized changes, then even going to do it. R is repudiation. Repudiation is denying having done an action. Okay. I information disclosures, revelations of controlled informations. D it means denial of service, prevents the use of an asset. E escalation of privilege, prevents elevates capabilities of underprivileged account. Okay. So you have this going to provide some permissions to the user, and you have provided all security features to the user same time. You provide for them for these sort of things. We need to be close as early as possible. So determining the potential attacks, so what are flow diagrams, entities, technologies, transactions, attack versus each element we need to be take care of. We have the addition analysis, so decomposing system, process, environment, so models, functions, protocols, etc. So we need to find out. Reduce the analysis. Okay, so identify the following: trust boundaries, data flow path, input points, service operations, and security approaches. What are particular approaches do you have? And what we're going to do it, we have to do some prioritize and response. Probability of X damage potentials, high, medium, and low. Red is discoverability, reproducibility, explorability, affected users, damage of potential. Okay, then acquisition of security. How do you acquisition of the security? Select software with integrated security. Evaluate third-party service providers. On-site assignment document. Observe their operating habits. Document exchange and review. Investigate data exchange processes. Process policy review. Review their security policies. Okay. Suppose you have acquisition of the third-party vendors, the contractors. So what you're going to do, you have on-site assignments, document exchange and review. First of all, check it out, investigate data exchange processes, what type of processes you are going to do it. Process policy and review. You need to review all the security policies. You have to review the exchange processes. You have to review observe their operating habits, what they're going to access information same time. Review service level agreements for third-party vendors only. So the personal security is people, weakest link in the security chain, as you already know that. So hiring process, job description, concepts, separation of duties, what type of duties, last privileges, least privileges we need to provide once the user is going to join. Job responsibilities, job rotations, cross training. These are the things we need to provide. Okay, so we need the separation of duties, experience vendor sort of things. Least privilege we need to provide. Job responsibilities we need to see here. Job rotations, what type of day or night shift, whatever shift it is. Cross trainings we need to be let them know. Maintain throughout operations life cycle. Job classification is employee screening, background checks, etc. Hiring and training, non-disclosure agreements, non-compete agreement. And if it is termination sort of process, then notify employee, request return of company equipment, disable electronic accesses, exit interview and NDA reviews, escorts off premises, separation of duties, ways of work, tasks divided among administrators. Okay, so suppose separation of duties means that suppose if we have two administrators, we can divide the task same time. Applies to administrators instead of users. Prevents collision. Least privileges. Users should only have privileges that they require. Applies to users instead of admins. Job responsibilities, work tasks that an employee is required to perform. Defines required objects, resources, and services. We have job rotations provides knowledge redundancy, less downtime, reduce work of code via peer auditing, product against collision, cross training. We need to provide some cross training, alternative to job rotation. Employees are trained for other jobs. Workers are not rotated to different jobs. Okay, collusion is when people work together to commit a crime. Non-disclosure agreement (NDA) protects confidential information within an organization. Non-compete agreement (NCAs). Non-compete agreement prevents employees from jumping to a competitor. Has time limit, allows companies to keep competitive edge. Difficult to enforce. Refers violation of NDA. Mandatory vacancies used to audit employees. Terminations best practices have one witnesses. Okay. We want to terminate an employee, so then we have some required some things is have one witnesses. Escort off premises. Escort required when in work area. Return employee identification and equipment. Disable network user account at the same time of termination. Notify HR to issue final paychecks. Inform security personnel of termination. Terminate at end of shift in middle of the week. Perform exit interview. Exit interview is basically review liability restrictions, review ND and other agreements. Third party controls service level agreements is all about. Defines expected level of secure service at third party. Putting all for network connections and other services. include remedies for it if not met, common SLA issues, system uptime, peak load, average load, responsibility of diagnostics, fail overtime, maximum calculated downtime, and compliance is adopted. Compliance adhere to regulations. Employees need to follow policies, etc. And we have some requirements of compliance and privacy, secrecy of personal information. Okay, how the organizations, how the company is going to secure your personal information like your license information, your Aadhaar card information, your mobile numbers, or your date of birth, or anything like that. Prevention of unauthorized access to PII, okay, so unauthorized access on personal information. Freedom from being monitored without knowledge. For employees, site visitors, customers, suppliers, and contractors, what sort of privacies they have. Personal identified information same time, PII. Okay, information that can be tracked back to a person include phone numbers, email address, SSD name, exclude MAC address, IP address, or site host types. In exclude, we don't require this information same time. Okay, so these are the PIA information, personal identified information sort of things. What sort of information is required for a company? What sort of information is required for the person? The onboarding process, offboarding process, termination process, job rotation process. So these are the some very important tasks of personal identified information sort of things. So we have another thing is term is security governance. So directing at the security efforts of organizations. Okay, so third-party governance, employment of external auditors review your security, compliance of external providers provides must comply with your security policies, documentations review, on-site assignment assessments. So documentation review is exchanging materials, okay, reading and verifying them against expectations required before performing on-site assignments. On-site assignments, first-hand exposure of to security mechanisms should follow COVID, authorized to operate to government uh, contractors required when complying with government security policy. Okay, so Kriven, I have one question regarding what type of what security governance in your company right now. What they're doing it right now. If you have a third parties, what type of accessibilities, what sort of things you're gonna provide to them? Yes, please answer to me. I'm waiting for your answers. What are the security governance in your company right now? Hello, Kriven.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I would like to know that Kriven and Harish. So I would like to know that what type of security governance in your company. Yes, any answers?
In my organization,
Yes,
hello.
yes. I would like to know your organization only.
No, sir, it did not work till now. I don't have much knowledge on this.
Okay, okay, okay. So security governance is basically directing security efforts of organizations. Okay. So third-party governance, documentation review, on-site assignments, authorization of operator. Okay. So we're talking about some third-party governance. Okay. So employment of external auditors. Okay, or external auditors review your security. So in your company, the external person, okay, some different company person will going to check your security, review your security, okay, not your same company, third party governance. Compliance of external providers so provides must comply with your security policies. Documentation review, on-site assessments. Okay, so on-site assessments, documentation review, they will gonna check it out and provide security. Provides must comply with your security policies. And document review, they will also exchanging some materials, documentation same time, reading and verifying them against expectations required before performing on-site assignments. Okay, so before they will going to coming performing on-site assignments, so the document review, the third-party governance, and on-site assessments, first-hand exposure to security mechanisms. Or it should follow COVID. COVID is a framework again. An authorization of operate ATO for government control contractors required when complying with the government policy, security policies. Okay, same time. So we have done this particular thing, security governance, and then we have new topic of risk management. So what do you understand by risk? What are different risks in your company? Yes, please tell me. Any answers you would like to tell me that this is the risk in my company? Yes, any answers you would like to provide me that this is the risk in my company? What is this? Yes, please. Any answers you would like to tell me that what is this is all about?
Like cyber threats, data breaches. Hello.
Yes, yes, please.
The risks may be cyber threats, data breaches, supply chain risks, maybe quality risk.
Yes, yes. Yes. So what happened? Different companies, different domains. Okay, different domains, and it means that manufacturing, production, IT, operations, healthcare have different risks. Okay, so the risk we need to understand risk management very thoroughly, because if you're going for any company, right? So suppose you are going to do penetration testing, you are going to do some forensic investigations, computer forensic investigations. So first of all, you as a security guy, okay, you need to understand the security. What you need to understand the risk, what type of risk it is, why I'm going to do it, what is the right way to going to do it, what is the right method of doing it, what is your aim to going to do it. Okay, so most of the risk is involved into the uh, information security we are talking about here only. Okay, so information security, there are multiple risks here. There is a process to identifying the risk. Once you identify the risk of the company of other particular the task which you're going to work, then you can provide a solution to it. One thing is also important. Suppose you are the cybersecurity expert and you're going for a company and are doing auditing sort of things. And first of all, you need to understand what type of different risk is there. Or we have also use cases like, suppose the other security guys, the company is already doing the penetration testing, that the report will be in front of you. They will share the information to you that this is the penetration testing report from the company, and these are the some different issues we have find out. So provide the solutions in. So as risk management, what are the different risks? You need to find out. So this is the tools, the number of tools you can gonna use it for information security. Like you can go for a penetration testing, and and penetration testing reports you're going to provide it. You can do vulnerability assessment. So vulnerability assessment is that is the risk is available. That is why you are doing it. When vulnerability assessment sort of things. Okay, so the risk is the possibility that as assets could be damaged or disclosed. So there is the possibilities every time is there in the information security that the assets, the IT assets I'm talking about, the information asset, okay, that can be damaged or disclosed from the time. Suppose you're working in a company on your company balance sheet is disclosed to all of the world, then there's a problem. Your sensitive information, your top secret data is disclosed to all over the world, then there's a problem. Okay, so there's a possibility every time that it is going to be damaged. Some of the hacker is going to hack your assets. They will damage your assets, or they will disclose your information to outside. So the risk management we need to be take care at the same time. So the risk management is actions to reduce risk to an acceptable level. Okay, so we need to perform some actions to reduce risk to an acceptable level. So risk steps is risk analysis. We need to do it first. So risk analysis is identifying the risk, evaluate the risk, countermeasure the risk. Okay. So first of all, we have to identify what type of risk it is. So identify this, evaluate the risk, and countermeasures. How do we countermeasure the risk? The first things you find it out. Then the risk responses. In the risk responses, we have to what sort of things we can going to do it. We have 4 options available for risk responses. Suppose the risk is available, and the IT security, the information security risk is available at the company. Then what they're going to do it, they mitigate the risk. What does it mean? Using countermeasures to reduce this. Okay, they will provide some countermeasures. Okay, suppose you find out some DDoS attacks, so you can go and purchase the firewall. Okay, and then you enable the IDS and IPS. Okay, and suppose you are finding some cloud risk, cloud security risk is there, so you can also use the firewall, virtual firewall. You can enable it from the cloud end. You can go for security center in the Azure side, and you can enable the security incident event management. Okay, so we can countermeasure the risk. First of all, we need to identify the risk. So we can go for the mitigating the risk. Okay, we have reduce the risk. We require some countermeasures sort of thing. Then the second thing is transfer the risk. So transfer the risk is transferring risk to another operations, purchasing insurance, outsourcing business processes. So these are some transfer. You can just transfer this using uh, transferring this to other organizations, purchasing insurance, outsourcing the business processes. Okay, so you transfer your risk. You can accept the risk. Grant countermeasures cost more than the risk cost. Organizations absorbs the risk cost signed off by management. Okay, so this company is going to accept the risk and the reject the advertisement, ignoring the existence of the risk. Okay, so company is ignoring the thing. This is the risk. Not produce due care responses to this. Okay? So countermeasure selection and implementation of the rules. We have countermeasure cost is equal to asset value. This goes as countermeasure cost is 2 lakhs and the asset value is 1 lakh. So we don't need to go for the countermeasure scheme because countermeasure cost is very high. If the asset value is 15 lakhs and countermeasure cost is 1 lakh, so we can go for the countermeasure cost. Okay, so countermeasure cost is countermeasure benefits. So what type of benefit it is? The benefit of risk is less and cost of the attack is high, then we can go for the rules. These are some different rules is available. Okay, benefit should be testable and verifiable. So monitoring and measurement sort of things, continuous improvement. So risk analysis. This is the first thing, this is risk, and this is the second thing. Risk assessment is the first thing we have done on internet. This risk is there or not. And then risk analysis is basically process of achieving risk management goals. So the steps identify this, evaluating risk, likelihood, how it is often risk is there, and damage potential risk rating. Then we determining countermeasures, cost benefit analysis. Okay, and we have some types: quantity risk and quality risk and hybrid risk. So we have determining the countermeasures, the cost benefit analysis. Okay. So we have quantitative risk analysis is basically assigning dollars value to the risk. So where there is a the cost is involved, it is a quantity risk is there. Okay. So we have identify assets with value and with asset value, identify threats against assets and exposure value, exposure value. We have single loss expectancy, we have rate of expectancy, loss of expectancy, and identify the countermeasures. Okay, so where the quantity risk is assigning as per borrower's value, same thing. There's a specific value. So there is a separate formula for the same as expectancy. And qualitative risk is basically scenario based. Uses threat ranking, techniques, Delphi techniques, brainstorming sessions, surveys, etc. Scenarios, one-page description for threat, contains threat vectors, impact safeguards, and threat level. Delphi techniques. So we have different techniques available for quality risk. Risk terminology is basically asset, items that have value to the organizations, items that will determine the organization's disclosed, any item that needs to be protected. Asset value valuation is monetary or intangible value of the asset can be based on the cost of the develop or replace market value. We have threats, we have different threats available and desirable occurrence and the damage assets, threat agents and sources of threats, exposure, possibility of threat relations, exposure of elevation access, risk is possibility of threat relations, safeguards, we have use and countermeasures. So we have to go for proactive controls. We can go for some safeguard. We have some breaches, occurrence of security mechanism bypass. Security breaches, occurrence of security mechanism bypass. Okay, some more users are going to access the proxy and bypass the firewall. Penetration is basically a state where the threat agent has access to the organization's infrastructures. Progress is basically progress is a threat multiplied by into vulnerabilities. Residual risk is risk that remains after control mechanisms are implemented. Risk that management has chosen to accept. Residual risk is total risk minus control gap. Control gap is basically total uh, amount of risk reduced by controls. So risk elements is threat, exploits, vulnerabilities, and exposure. Risk which is mitigated by safeguards, which is protected, assets which are mitigated by verify threats. Listing down all the threat agents and events should have involved various departments. employment of external consultants, the countermeasures selection and implementations. So we have technical controls, countermeasures. So we can go for hardware and software mechanism. Our ideas we can going to use it. Administrative controls. We have policies and procedures and management protocols, and we have some physical controls like we can go physical, tangible, and safeguard and this sort of things we can going to use it. So we have deterrent controls. So we have deterrent is disclosure of violations of security policy, fancies, training, guards, etc. Preventive stops violations of security policies, firewalls, IPS, mantras, etc. Preventive things. Okay, and we have said that directive disclosures discovers violations of security policies, CCTV, audit trails, month motion detectors, etc. And we have compensating is added in addition of security controls and interruptions of PII arresting all the transit. And we have collective. So asset valuation assigning borrowers value to assets. Okay. So we have some risk uh, management framework NIST 800-37. You can categorize, select, implement assets, authorize, and monitor the risk. And we will also education and awareness and training to the different persons and things. Okay, so we have the business continuity plan. So, my dear friends, in this, first of all, we need to understand risk management. Management. Just try to understand this particular things. Okay, risk management framework 837. Very study this one. Okay, and we have to understand asset valuations not to require too much. This is countermeasure of selection of implementation. This is the things you need to understand. Corrective action strategy. This is corrective. Security governance you need to understand. Okay, and is basically your strategies, personal security. This is also very important. Acquisition of security. State modeling we already use. Security policies, guidelines, right? Processes. Okay, this is steps you need to be check it out. Technical framework and then data classifications. Security management plans. Okay, so this is the information you would like to give. Hello, Harish and Triven.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is the project I
Yes, sir.
have written down, right? So what you're going to do it, the all things which I'm sharing here, okay? Personal security, efficient security, components of security policies, framework, data classification, security management plans, okay? You need to create a project for the same, okay?
Okay.
So the project is basically scenario based. How do you implement the security? How do you, you know, what security is implement on different domains?
Okay.
Domains. Okay, different domains like production. Production. How do you implement the production? Manufacturing, healthcare, etc. Okay, so try to create this project same time and let me know. Okay, today have today tomorrow we have some separate topic. You're going to use it. Okay, any questions till now?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.